Welcome to episode 98 of the Triple Poe. I'm Chris, and this is next to me, well, not literally, is the co-host with the most, Lyman Smith. How you doing, Lyman?
I'm good, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a little bout earlier on the way home. Had some nausea. I think this new meds, they got me on blood pressure meds. So I don't know.
Clonidine?
I'm old, so I don't know what's happening. They switched them because my renal action was elevated, or
You gotta have good renal action. It's
so
important.
I'm dying. So just to let you
We
know.
all are.
So okay, calm down.
Let me see.
But it's true, we are all dying. So the first thing I wanted to get out of the way was I got clipped. I think I previewed that on the last show. I know you were all excited to hear about the outcome. And well, I guess it worked. I don't know. They were down there tugging. I paid $700 so it better work. Um, I had to wait in there a while though, because apparently the dude who does it got called in some emergency where somebody had stones. I'm like, fuck that motherfucker. I was here first. So I had to sit there. If I was falling asleep because I took, because they gave me one for Valium, a prescription I couldn't find. So my mom had some Clonnies, I think they were. I took a couple of those. Or no, it wasn't Clonnies. It was the other.
Xanax?
Or is it? I don't even fucking remember. One of those benzodrine thing. It's in that same class. Anyway, I took a couple of those. I was half asleep. So it wasn't no thing. They got down there and did their thing. They numb you up. The only thing they shoot the Novocaine or the local anesthetic into the nerve, and he said you're going to feel like you're racked, which that's where they kick you in the balls, and that's where the
Oh.
yeah. Well, it wasn't like that bad, and I didn't. I mean, I was half asleep the whole time basically.
So, pain scale of 1 to 10 for the shot.
It was like if you get a little more than getting your Novocaine, if you get your work done on your teeth, which I have plenty, so that doesn't even hurt me anymore. So it's not bad.
No? How's the recovery?
Well, I'm still on it. I put some frozen peas on my no, my nut sack. You know what? Who am I? What show are we watching? Doing here? On my nut sack, I was sitting on the couch and watching TV and with the ice on my nut sack, and I had a bunch of beer. And I was doing that all weekend, and then it was fine. They stitched it. The stitches don't come out for a couple of weeks. I'm not supposed to do any sexual activity for like a week, which is fortunate because I can't have any right now. But I'm going to try. I don't want to hear any judgment. This is a sex positive show, and on this show we talk about masturbation. Okay, I'm trying it out tonight, and fuck you if you don't like it.
Report back.
I'm not going to show it on here because I don't want to. I don't want to get y'all excited.
This is the wrong tube for that one.
Yeah. So. Anyway, everything's going okay with that. Now, uh, I did have a little issue. This last couple, well, I guess last week maybe. There's a certain couple of monkeys who run a certain show called the Free Thought Prophet, which is ironic they should call it that because anyway. Um, so the little backstory: my friend Zach Law, who we're going to be on his show next week, and I've been on his show several times, and he's been on here several times. But he's my good friend. Um, Now the Free Thought Prophet got on the Silverman bandwagon and had him on, of course. And apparently Zach had Free Thought Prophets on his show a while ago. I don't know how long. It must have been. I don't remember him, so it must have been a while back. And he called him out on it, having platforming Silverman, which he should have. Well, Mr. Free Thought Prophets didn't take too kindly to that, apparently. So they
Mm-mm.
started a Twitter battle back and forth. And, well, we know how that goes, right? So of course, they're skeptical white dude bro atheist types, right? And they don't, it's more important we get the word of a white, because he's so oppressed, because now he's the head of Atheist Alliance International, because he's his life is over. His life is over, right? So, as you can imagine, we of the SJW Army have similar. Apparently, there's commandments, which brings me, to the video. Apparently they had the battle. My friend Zach got on his show, and I have his explicit permission to do this, by the way. And he was talking shit about them because of the very reasons. He was their platform, and Silverman, they didn't seem to care much about, the women's point of view, because how many women, no, who's had any women to talk about this issue, about the Silverman issue? Really, I can't really think of any. But it's important that we get these white atheist leaders, we get them their sympathy, or whatever, but we don't hear too much from the. What's so funny?
I just got a text from Casey. She said every time Chris runs his my phone went to sleep. Every time Chris runs his beard, I think she meant runs his hand through his beard, Lyman rubs his hair. Is it contagious like yawning?
Okay, I'm gonna have to get back to you.
I'm not gonna do it. Fuck you all.
You're gonna forget that you're not going to do it.
No, I'm good.
You're gonna do it anyway. Anyway, so he made a response video to all the fucking tweet battles they had back and forth about it, and then they had the episode called what was it? Something of the woke.
Something like Woke's Day.
Dispatches from the woke wars or whatever, and silly me. Like, I love watching silly bullshit. I like watching horrible Christian movies. So
they're the best.
Yeah, this is no different. Now, I didn't know when I watched it that Zach was going to even be on there. And I was like, wait a minute. This is like a Zach, basically.
Wait, he was on that episode?
No, he wasn't on the episode. Well, they used clips from his video.
Maybe you're talking about, okay. I didn't pay attention to it because I was distracted by the douche.
No, well, I get paid for $5 a month for this.
It's like Netflix.
So
with a coupon.
Yeah, they used clips from his video, his response video, and they were sitting there refuting all this shit. And they said they called him racist. And what else?
Let's see.
They call the whole white. You can't be racist if you call it white people. You can't do it. All right. And then of course the whole skeptical. Well, nobody went to court over it, so therefore it must not be legitimate, or whatever. That whole fucking line. So I don't want to spend too much because they're just idiots. I mean, it's not anything different than any of the other. Because Silverman's been on this fucking apology tour. He's been in a couple different podcasts that I've seen him on. And let's see. Oh, he was on Sargon. So yeah, no, he's going the high road on that one because Sargon is a good guy. Good guy. He's not like going out calling people to get raped and shit.
Sargon's garbage.
So anyway,
it's my sage input.
So I watched that, and of course I got pissed because Zach's my boy. I didn't get on Twitter because I didn't want to really on there feed into it because it was just kept looping back and forth. It was the same shit over and over again. Them throwing a fit about them. Apparently, them being racist was somehow something like. Why is it the white dude bros get upset when you call them racist? But if you're so worried about it, why are you so worried about it? Why are you so sensitive? Bruh. Why are you so worried? Maybe you need to do a little soul search in there, buddy.
It's always entertaining when people sit there and feel the need to be like, oh, I don't really, this, but But then they take the time to take 57 fucking minutes to count their people of color and be like, well, we have more women and people of color and all this other stuff. It's like, if something is not true, then like, why bother with it? Just
It's just funny. I mean,
thou
like
dost
I said,
protest too much.
that's what I'm thinking too. I mean, I don't know if they're just unaware, just don't care, or both. I don't know if they're.
Why not both?
I guess it could. Why not both? You know, I don't know. I mean, now we did look. I looked on their little page, and I go low. Just
And I
watch
do mean little.
Um,
Un
so,
poquito.
yeah, I don't know how you have over 1,000 subscribers, but your video count on each one is like 30, 40, 50, 60 if you're lucky. Although I will note that the one with the most episodes I saw was, see if you can guess. The one with
David
Silverman.
Silverberg.
Man.
I mean, to be fair, 1,000 subscribers. They did happen to mention an episode about Russiagate. So maybe Russian bots?
I don't know. They've been around for a while. That I know because Zach has talked to them before.
A+ for diligence, boys.
But yeah, so they got no views for one, except for the one with Silverman got 300 or something. They have matching shirts, which they ruined that idea now. Even if I wanted to do that, I'm not.
Yeah. It's easy. I wear black. We could do this.
We're not doing it.
No, we have to.
Even if
We're white and male. We have to coordinate. We're oppressed. We're super
then we might as
oppressed.
well be called Chad and Brad, and I'm not doing it.
I like it. We were going to change the name of the podcast, right?
We are still.
Chad and Brad.
I'm not wearing one of those sweaters around my neck and fucking Fred from whatever his fucking is.
I'll take one for the team.
Well, I bet you would. But anyway,
Team player.
oh yeah, and they have matching lava lamps, which is just cute. Really cute. I don't have anything against lava lamps,
No, they're great. And you fucked them up.
but they just ruined them now, so I can't ever have a lava lamp again. So I mean, and they just look like fucking your typical basement dwelling dude bro fucks. I'm sorry. I mean, I know I'm being judgmental because I'm not exactly, I'm kind of a neckbeard myself. But if you're gonna start calling out people, I don't know, man. I don't give a fuck. Zach is a cool guy. Zach doesn't like to get too much into that. Even though he's gotten pretty pissed with this, and it's rare for him. This is pretty out there for him.
So one of the things I took away from wasting my 57 minutes and some odd seconds of my life.
Sorry.
Yeah, you should be. Was I had a hard time, first of all, figuring out where to begin, because it's like they just reached into their fucking pocket of their fallacy tarot card deck and were just pulling them out and throwing them. But at the end of the day, they were asserting that they were being called racist, which I did watch Zach's video, and I really didn't get that. What I got out of it was the fact that they were saying that, or Zach was saying that if somebody who was not white were to be accused of the same thing, that they would not be treated equally in the community. And seeing as how they were so on brand with asserting that they were atheists, which means they're skeptic. They have to be skeptic. And so, they basically have embroidered polo shirts on. The takeaway is that it was peculiar. Like, I don't feel the need. First of all, I don't get called racist. But even if I did, I wouldn't feel the need to defend myself for what? How long was Zach's video? Like 12 minutes, 7 minutes, something like that?
Yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't that long, yeah.
It was very short, almost an hour of being like, well, we counted up all of our women that we had on since 2018, and we counted up all of our people of color. We have to bring up that the last two people were people of color, and one of them was gay. It's like, dude, like, you basically just might as well have said that you have a color TV. Like, oh, well, I have friends that are black. Like, what the? There's a lot of defensiveness for somebody who has nothing to worry about. Just saying, and I'm not calling you racist. I'm just asserting that you behave as somebody who is a closeted one or doesn't quite realize what they're doing.
I just think they're assholes. I don't know about anything else.
Well, no, they're clearly assholes. And, you know, the funny thing is they kept bringing up the other podcast that Felicia was on. And I, too, like Zach, was asked to be on there for that specific episode, which I did not do. And it was pitched as a debate with two people that were basically free speech absolutionists or something. Yeah, whatever. I can't talk. Words are hard. And so something about cancel culture and things like that, which, I mean, to me is super simple and really overcomplicated by a lot of people. And it's like, well, you know, from the basic standpoint of if you, Chris, make a beer and I make a beer, people buy the one that they like and they don't buy the one that they don't. And while that has to do with money, the currency for Silverman, these two dudes, and everybody else is your time. And regardless of anything else, cancel culture is not some like crucifixion process or pyre lighting, as they like to use many times as the example. It is simply putting your currency into things that you want to for one reason or another and refusing to otherwise, regardless of monetary class, regardless of notoriety, like Silverman, or the single black person they could come up with in their example who was accused of sexual impropriety, which was
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Thank you. Like, there's a huge fucking difference between somebody who goes to a lot of cons or is a little bit well known in between like little circles and Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's a huge fucking difference. I mean that's closer to comparing Clarence Thomas to Kavanaugh than it is Silverman to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I feel like I need an anger translator right now. Honestly, like I need Key and Peele to walk in. You can have one. I'll have the other. You choose first.
I wish that show was still.
I do too. It's fucking great.
Yeah. Oh, and you brought that the cancel culture thing is just stupid. I mean, it's just always funny to me how the ones who blow it out of proportion are the ones who fucking bitch about it in the first place, right? I mean, like you said, it's basically just not wanting to listen or see or consume something that you don't want to for whatever. I mean, because they're assholes, maybe sometimes, or maybe they just get on your nerves, or you just past it, or something like that.
Sure. And I mean, the other side of it is, it's like, okay, to their point, no, they do not know what is true with Silverman and the ladies. I don't know. I don't remember because I don't pay attention to them, because that's kind of the point. It's, you don't have to be shitty to them. You don't have to go like kick in their front door and be like, oh, you, like, just stop giving them a platform. And to use the same really strange analogy, Ted Bundy, assuming he wasn't dead, or if he was alive in prison, no, talking to somebody does not harm people. It's the normalization of potential, since you don't know, like if you don't know if Bobby is a thief, but it goes around that Bobby is a thief, do you let Bobby sit in your house by himself? Do you give him a house key? Probably not. You're not being shitty to Bobby. You're not going to risk it. And I find it super interesting that they're willing to give the benefit of the doubt. Again, you don't have to be shitty to him, but you don't have to give him a space, a safe space, as you said, actually. The safe space for him is people like them. The people that are like, well, we don't know what to believe, so none of it matters because we're skeptics, and yeah, we want views.
Except the skeptic thing only applies to white atheist leaders, apparently.
It's very on brand.
You generally don't hear about the skepticism coming the other direction. Why not be skeptic in the other way? Why not assume that the women are the ones who have been agreed?
I mean,
and not the other way around.
And I mean, to their point, which they did mention, which is super ironic, is that 1 in 5 women will experience some sort of sexual assault to varying degrees. And the percentage that are actually reported is the minority of the occurrences. So
They proved their own fucking point.
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
It's like...
Thank you. You just proved my fucking point, you dipshits.
I didn't even have to Google. I didn't. You gave me the statistics, which are actually right, and then shot yourself in the foot. Or took an arrow to a knee. I'm sure that's something you're more familiar with.
I don't know. So it's, if you know anything about the Silverman debacle and you know what the fucking apologetics are behind it, it's really not any different than anything else.
No.
The only thing that set me off was because of Zach, and Zach generally doesn't let things get to him too much, but this is something that's really kind of bothered him. And I'm a little more confrontational than he is. And Seamus got his show said, "Fuck you, Zach." Well, fuck you, Seamus. Okay, I better. No, I'm part Irish. I can do that, right?
I am too. I showed you the 21 and me or whatever the fuck. Whatever. I'm too short.
So,
that explains a lot.
You are. You're kind of Irish looking, I gotta say.
Irish looking?
With the red beard, so it's close enough.
If I actually let it happen, there's quite a bit of red in it.
I don't even know who the fucking other guy even is. The bald dude.
The token accent to make things sound smart and credible?
No. The Irish guy is Seamus.
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, just like the alt-right people that they were curious as to why they're not being like, oh, why don't you have more alt-right? Like, nobody knows who the fuck they are. And I didn't until today, and I regret it. I honestly do. That's 57 minutes of my finite lifespan.
I'm sorry, man. I got sucked in. I couldn't help it.
I got hives.
Okay, calm down there, man.
Patreon goal. Everyone $1 a month so I can buy fucking calamine from Costco.
Well, I take in as much as I give out because I support other people.
Can we switch for a second to something positive?
Okay, we're moving on. But
no, we might come back. Cause Zach's a good dude and fuck these guys. But what are you drinking tonight?
Sorry.
Hot.
Rheingeist Cafe. No. Rheingeist is actually at Cincinnati, which, as you recall, we were at the American Atheist Convention.
Yeah.
And they've been carrying it a lot of places lately here because it's a semi-local thing. Every one I've had so far is garbage. It's been bland. It's just no good. This is a little better, only because it's coffee milk, and that's what I usually drink.
Is that what the dragon's milk technically is?
Well, yes, except it's a little stronger.
This one or the dragon's milk is?
Oh no, the dragon's milk's like 12% or something. That's what.
Yikes.
That's Zach's official drink, actually.
I know. It's in the video. I haven't tried it yet, so one of these times, I guess, like my baptism will be like sipping some and having Natalie pour some over my head or something.
All right, I don't want to take part in your little. I'm a I don't want to. You know. You can do that on cam. Somebody will pay you to do it. Go ahead.
Just do it for free because it's funny, to me at least, and that's what matters. Because I'm white, and I'm male, and that's all that matters. Right? Why? Thank you for asking, Chris. What am I drinking tonight?
Oh, sorry. What is
The
it?
the backpack Manhattan
Oh, the official. That's your official drink, I guess.
of AACon as well, according to Patreon donors for opening arguments.
Well, it's pretty funny that you call it AA con because it makes it sound like it's. It's Alcoholics Anonymous.
I didn't even think about that.
I don't think it's a very good.
It's
very
a.
good look
It,
for.
would you say that AACon is a safe space for atheists?
You hush your whore mouth.
I'm just saying, it's fucking ironic. I'm fucking keyed up about these guys, and you know what? I don't get keyed up. This guy doesn't get keyed up.
Well, it's because it's not just them. It's just all these. Of course, okay. Then we forgot to talk about the wokest day as shit.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
Like 100 times.
What?
Wokest day is woke. Okay, that's my accent. Wokest day is. That's still not right. I don't care.
I'm just gonna preface that you do not want me doing accents ever. I did one the other night just randomly at Natalie as an impression of her. She's like, "Am I a Disney villain?" So
I can do some, but I have to practice.
We are gonna come back to that, but you know what pisses me off? I do not like when people fuck with other people that are absolute trash. It's not subjective, like, oh, difference of opinions, or I'm a skeptic. Like Zach's one of the nicest people on the planet that I know, next to my fiance. And he's 3.
No.
He's number 3. No, he's pretty nice. He's like
she's like preternaturally nice.
No, it's almost disconcerting how nice she is, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a little anyway,
way too nice to be dealing with. Anyhow, fuck those people and their ilk, and I'm sure we'll come back to it because I'm fucking keyed up. What does it mean?
I think they're trying to make fun of the Catholic order in that what's it called, Da Vinci Code.
I've only seen it once, and I saw it in the theater.
It's fuck, I can't remember. But the guy who assassinates people, it's been a long time, but he like kills people. He's like an assassin, and his order is like Opus Dei.
Opus Dei. I'd rather have an Opus Dei.
But he's like an assassin, and his thing is he self-flagellates all the time.
You know what? Listening to their fucking podcast is self-flagellation.
Yeah, that was painful. It was pretty painful. I'd almost rather self-flagellate, to be honest with you. But I think that's where, in this whole woke thing.
You're not supposed to for a week. Woke. You're not supposed to for a week. Whatever. Lowbrow humor.
Okay. Low. Okay.
I'm sorry. Right on par.
Okay, so yeah, Wokest Day. I'm sorry, I just forgot all about the Wokest Day and the whole woke thing. Now apparently it's more popular now. Nobody's saying woke now except the ones who are talking shit about woke.
I just saw a cattail.
Yeah, it was a cattail.
Which one is that?
Seriously, she's the only one that does shit like that.
Is that the one that I said looked like she was gonna cut a bish?
No, that's Callie. She's the older one. She just chills. This little bitch just wanders around. Anyway, yeah, it's just like that's the new thing. Woke. That like the video I talked about with Ruben and Tucker Carlson. That shit was bizarre. If you haven't gone and seen it, you need to go see it. I think that's your homework assignment, actually, because that is the weirdest shit.
Homework assignment? That's going to be what I go to sleep to tonight.
The wildfires are somehow could be averted or better fought if it wasn't for the fact that there was diversity. We were worrying about who was lesbians and who was black people that are firefighters. I don't even know what the hell's happening. This whole woke thing is out of fucking control. I never heard anybody say woke as much as the people who were talking shit about woke people?
It's well, first to your point, the irony of that with the diversity thing is a lot of, not, I don't know what percentage, but a good significant portion worth talking about. And I'm guessing, having not watched it, that Tucker did not touch on this, nor did Ruben, of California's firefighters are prisoners, which, if you know, quick TLDR, 3 million people in the United States incarcerated. 43% of them are for nonviolent marijuana-related offenses. So if you do that math and you assume, and you divide it, by populations of states and all this stuff, because California apparently has a lot of people. They have nonviolent offenders being let out because they're not Charles Manson. So they let them out to go fight fires for free, or like $2 or $3 a day or some shit like that. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, when they're out, they're not allowed to be firefighters because they have a record.
Yeah,
I
that's a whole other thing.
Stroke your beard. I need soothing. Do it. So, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know, man. California needs to do better with that.
Everywhere needs to do better with that.
So they're.
What did they do?
They abolished private prisons.
So what about all the people in them?
That's a good question. I guess they'll have to. I don't know. They'll have to build. I say let them out.
Dear California, you have legalized marijuana. Expunge and release all of the marijuana offenses and all the nonviolent offenders. Sincerely, TPPP.
Maybe. That'll do it. I'm sure that'll do it.
It's perfect.
Anyway,
Yes.
I'm sorry, the woke stay thing, I forgot about. It's just true. If it's a drinking game, I'd be fucking hammered. And I took a drink every time they said woke stay or dance or whatever the fuck they said. Is she continually doing that?
Who?
Okay, I thought it was Casey. So anyway, we'll get back to that probably again because it's a recurring theme. What was the? Oh yeah, the other couple other things I wanted to talk about. One of which was the delicious. Of course, everybody knows about this now because it's everywhere. Trump being basically booed, and there was a rousing chant of "lock him up" at the World Series game.
Sexy as fuck.
In Washington, D.C.
It got me super hot and bothered.
Dude, it was a beauteous thing. And he was crying. It looked like he was about to cry, is what it looked like.
He doesn't have fucking feelings.
No, if you see it.
I'm not ashamed to admit it. I watched it at least 24 times that day. Yeah, well, my Schadenfreude was.
Yeah, I know. So.
Fucking delicious.
Yeah, you've got a taste of what it's like is when it's not one of his fucking propaganda rallies or whatever.
I heard an interesting so when I drive the Shaggin' Wagon, which is the van that we just bought, I don't know what to call it yet. It's black. It's a minivan. I don't know. Rhymes.
Anyway, go ahead.
I have Sirius XM for I don't know how long because I bought something. So I was listening to CNN, and I usually don't necessarily like all the things that they say because they just say the same thing over for like hours. But they said specifically the video that we're talking about, they were talking about how it was interesting that he showed up how he did because, first of all, Washington, D.C. is one of the most democratic places in the country as far as he didn't win there. And they,
Black City, it's never been.
No. Like he didn't win. It wasn't like, oh, he almost did. No, he didn't. He sucks. Anyway, so they were talking about how it was interesting because he did his little bullshit victory lap about Baghdadi and then showed up like Obama did because it was similar-ish time when Obama had killed bin Laden, and then, not too terribly soon after, or too late after that, Obama showed up, got cheered like crazy. So he showed up expecting it, and then you see the look on his face where he realizes it is boos and not cheers. And they were talking about how it was the moment where when the camera first hits him, it's what he thinks he is. And then the realization of what he is washes over. And I mean, it sounds very simple because we all know that because he's trash and, whatever. But it's interesting to watch him get deflated. And allegedly, in the next week, between yesterday or 2 days ago and now, and in the next few days, they're going to formalize the impeachment proceedings. Again.
The articles of impeachment.
Yes.
And you did kind of mention the al-Baghdadi thing, which I'm assuming we both listened to the Intercept episode today.
We do. And honestly, for the 1.5 people that listen to this podcast, right there. If you don't listen to the Intercept, you're missing out. Honestly, it's not a partisan thing. It's very informing, and whatever. You know what? Jeremy Scahill can have my babies, and that's fine.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but it's lefty as fuck. Just be real about it.
Well,
I don't have a problem with that person, but the news is still right. There's definitely a spin. But it's not.
If the facts happen to be lefty,
right,
then so be it. But yeah, I mean, even on today's show, go watch it every Wednesday. They have a new episode.
No, but
they criticize everybody. Everybody. They called out Bernie Sanders today.
Yeah.
So,
he's not.
But yeah.
But anyway, so the whole thing with him being captured, I don't even think we did it. Didn't he say that, like,
so
Russia did it, or
so Baghdadi?
Capturing getting Baghdadi.
So I'm going to paraphrase a lot because Trump spoke for almost 50 minutes. He basically was like, died a coward, whimpering, crying, shot him dead. What actually happened, according to the National Security Council and people that know what the fuck's happening, instead of the staged photo of them sitting in the Situation Room with, I'm sorry, I work in IT. I work in that. All those cables, like just like the spaghetti all over the table, that would never fucking happen. Not even, especially not in the fucking Situation Room in the White House. I digress.
Go
on. Do go on. It was, what happened is they tried to breach, as far as we know, they tried to breach the wall of the place. First of all, let me back up. They flew in with permission through Russian airspace with, I think it was like 6, 7, 8 Chinooks. Those are the 2 propeller choppers and they fly in and they took fire, et cetera, et cetera. They landed, they breached the wall allegedly with, I'm assuming C4, because that's the most stable explosive you can use in the military. Anyway, they went in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They did not shoot him dead. He used a suicide vest and killed himself. And sadly enough, 3 children. That's what actually happened. We didn't kill him. And New York Times reports, you can Google it, that they had planned, they've been watching and planning and they were trying to control the spying and airspace and espionage and et cetera, of al-Baghdadi. But since Trump pulled everybody out of Syria, it kind of fucked everything up because that's where he was. So they had no control anymore. So the soldiers that they sent in, the special forces, were sent in not great circumstances. It was rushed because they were afraid they were going to lose him, and ultimately their work would be lost. So the people that went in and did that, and I am not a bootlicking, yay, let's go murder everybody type person, but those people went in under less than ideal circumstances, and took out an objectively bad person, and you should listen to that episode because it gives a lot of, if you don't know anything about him, it'll give you a little bit of foresight into it. But yeah, basically it didn't happen because Trump did something. It happened in spite of Trump.
Yeah, because he he pulled all our forces out and let Syria and fucking just pour in the gap and betray the fucking Kurds.
He let captives of ISIS escape because Syria had to choose between defending themselves from Turkey, who is also a BFF of Russia, between defending themselves or guarding our prisoners. And they decided self-preservation is a good thing after, and they're probably not so happy with us since they've lost just over 10,000 people fighting ISIS for us with our equipment and training.
Well, it's not the first time we've betrayed the Kurds, actually.
Oh, it's not the third time we've betrayed the Kurds. It's like next to baseball, it's our pastime, honestly. Like
we've
the middle
been fucking shit up in the Middle East for forever.
That is absolutely true. And as far as anything with modern history is concerned, like the Mujahideen in the mid-late 70s became later. We trained them, we armed them because we were worried about Russia. The fucking irony is.
And now Russia's trying to get back in, right?
Russia's in.
But okay, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this.
All right, let's hear it.
Now,
deep thoughts.
I don't like civilians. I mean, nobody likes civilians, obviously.
No.
It's a no-win anyway. I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do. Those refugees. You're certainly not gonna drop them on UK's doorstep like Trump said. That's like, no, we're just gonna get them. Yeah, we gonna drop them in the fucking ocean, you idiot. Anyway, but I say, if somebody's gonna be over there getting bogged down in shit, let Russia deal with that shit for a while and see how they like it. Because they pulled that shit in Afghanistan and you see what happened. Putin's overreaching, I'm telling you. He thinks he's going to be a world power. He's trying to make Russia a world power again, but he's going to fuck up and overreach. And he's going to get bogged down just like they did in Afghanistan, and he's going to regret that shit.
And see, I didn't investigate further, but in the last 24, 36 hours, there was an article that came out talking about that. Granted, the information comes from Russia, so it's suspect as fuck. Like, I need to see more. I need to know more. That they disclosed and published satellite footage of the U.S. smuggling and transporting oil out of Syria.
I saw that.
And so, I mean, if you know one thing about the United States throughout time, like, change my mind, is that the enemy of our enemy is our friend. Like, we are completely happy to utilize the animosity of one state against another that we mutually disagree with, even though we don't like the state we're about to ally with. Garrett, I've said it before. I'm pretty sure I said it 2 episodes ago. If we back somebody, train somebody, support somebody, arm somebody, we will be at war with them in the next 10 years. Prove me wrong. Give or take 2 years. I'll give you that.
That's not I take that bet. I don't even think that's a hard bet to take, really.
So I do not think it is ironic that, again, I'm not I'm not going to speak to what Trump is or isn't to Russia, but according to every single intelligence agency, which they're garbage, but they're good at what they do when they do it, which is always, because mass collection of all of our information. Probably recording this. Probably not. Not even the NSA watches this shit. That is insulting. I want to think that the NSA at least watches this. Anyway,
I wish they would actually.
I fucking wish they would. If they came to my door, I'd be like, "Yo, how do I get a job?" I would never work for them, ever.
No, you just said you would, you fucking traitor.
I'm white and a male. Out. No, but it is not. It is not a coincidence that we've confirmed that Russia has meddled or tried to at least interfere with our election, to the highest level of credibility that that all of our surveillance intelligence agencies have confirmed. And then we just randomly are like, Trump's like, Syria? Oh, boy. And then all of a sudden, done. Turkey's in there. And Turkey, I mean, you would have to be a certain level of not a skeptic to just dismiss it all. And it's disturbing because at the same time, we're ending the war. We don't need to be in the Middle East. We just sent 3,000 troops to Saudi Arabia. We just sold them like, I don't know how many tens of billions of dollars of weapons.
Oil.
Weapons. Saudi Arabia is the largest consumer of our weapons.
But I'm saying that's the reason we're protecting them, is because they can oil.
Well, of course.
We don't give a fuck about refugees.
We don't give a fuck about Saudi Arabia. We just want the control and the influence and the resources. If tomorrow Trump could drop a bomb and nuke them all, but we get to keep all the stuff.
That's what he was trying to do anyway.
Yeah, but he's not smart.
I mean, didn't they leave? They left like tactical nuclear weapons in fucking Turkey.
50. Around 50. In an Air Force base where a few hundred to a couple thousand of our own troops are just stationed there. They're an ally. And he's like, I'm going to ruin your economy. I've done it. You haven't done shit. You have not. What you've done is embolden the bigots, the racists, the dude bros, and disenfranchised about 33.7% of the assholes that were we were all completely content with having them in the closet as racists. But now we have to deal with their Confederate flag flying. Oh, go get them, Trump, MAGA. I can't wait for the fucking day that's over, honestly.
I don't know. It's always been that way down here, though. I don't notice it anymore just because it's here. The other parts of the country maybe notice it.
I'm allergic to it, so I notice it.
If you go into rural Tennessee, that's not even.
Question. And this is a weird question, I will admit. And in the weird case that one of our intelligence agencies is listening, this is a question, I'm not suggesting. Are you a little bit surprised that since he has the minority support and that we have literally more guns in America than human hands to hold them, a little surprised that nobody's... I mean, people have been shot for less. Reagan got shot. Kennedy. Are you a little surprised that not like at least one foiled attempt like some crazy? I am.
Trump?
Yeah.
No.
He's got...
Obama. Well, actually, Obama.
Oh, Obama isn't Dayglow, so it's a little different. But I mean, do you really think that...
I'm surprised there wasn't more against Obama.
Honestly, hand to the sky. After I voted for him. And fuck you if you don't like that, anybody out there. My first thought was, obviously, first black president, stuff like that. I was like, I don't know that he's going to make it through half his term. And I was wrong. Obama has his own fucking problems. I got my beef with Obama, but did you just give me a suspicious look?
Oh,
okay. I misinterpreted. But That was ugly. It's interesting for how we shoot up more schools than people try to do stupid things like assassinate a politician.
Because we give more of a fuck about that kind of shit. Don't give a fuck
About
about kids. When it
but
comes, we don't. You can have guns all you want and kill school children. Just don't kill the people who are funding the NRA to let them kill all the children.
but like statistically, like forget the like philosophy or psychology of it. It's interesting that there are more children killed by guns trying to learn how to like read and write than there are garbage politicians. Like of any persuasion in the political spectrum. Isn't that weird?
No, because they're the ones that put them out there. They're the ones that are funding them.
It's a little weird to me. Like just if it was Vegas, I would take the odds of opposite of what is actually reality. It's just
I wanted to bring, because you mentioned Obama, right?
sure.
And so I want to bring this back to Wokus Day, okay? Because Obama came out, I think it was today, and was talking shit about the woke culture. And we gotta be compromising and shit. And I'm like, here we go. I mean, this is why I get so mad. Fucking Obama was never anything. I mean, if you paid any attention to his political career, as short as it even was anyway, he was always at the very least, centrist, if not right center. Okay, and you can say whatever the fuck you want, but in his little cosmetic shit, like he sounded nice, and he did all the right, and he was cool and all that shit. But his policies weren't all that different. Especially, I mean, he deported how many? They call him the deporter in chief for fuck's sake. Fucking, drone bombing. I mean,
I think you're first of all you're 100% right. Um, Obama had the ability to, I mean, the only other person I've ever heard speak, especially like during his campaign and stuff like that, and this is not like kissing ass or anything, this is like my actual opinion, is uh, to speak as motivationally, effectively, and have the ability to connect with a crowd is Martin Luther King that I've heard. Um, Clearly different agendas. One would not exist without the other. Thanks, MLK. But to your point, he deported a metric fuck ton of people. He did, Obama. What he did not do is engage in barbarism and locking fucking children up and parading them around. I will never argue that we do not need reform in our immigration system, because we do. We really honestly do. I have friends that are from the UK. It took them 9, and 15 years to become citizens. They were living here just to become, like, the amount of red tape that goes into it is obscene. And if we know the government in the public sector, they're running off of technology that's like 2002. They're right now they're exhaling because they didn't get aced by Y2K, which was a joke. But no, he upped the drone program. He killed exponentially more civilians without boots on the ground, which trivializes our soldiers that actually, with goodwill and intent, volunteer to serve our country. He is centrist. He's barely left of center, like barely. The only thing that makes him left of center is the fact that he doesn't want to defund Social Security. He's not. I think that's about it. And he cares about healthcare. Like, really, that's it.
and LG, I mean, to be fair, socially liberal. That's the modern day Democrat that Bill Clinton kind of started. The
That's
whole
fair.
the neoliberal agenda, and you here sprinkle in some some socially conscious shit to make you look like you actually give a fuck about people, but over here you're locking up black people disproportionately,
To your
you
point,
know, and destroying welfare with Newt Gingrich. That fucker, no. Oh, and
fuck
he's
Newt
raping
Gingrich.
women while he's at it. He's in the middle of all that.
To your point with Bill Clinton, yes, he. So the crime bill of the '90s, what was it, 94, 95, 96? I don't remember. It's one of those 3 years. It was actually written by George Bush Sr., and it was passed under Clinton. But like Don't Ask, Don't Tell, things like that were definitely under Clinton. And later on in some interviews, memoirs, I don't remember exactly, in multiple places, it came out that he admitted he was wrong for signing them. And what he said, paraphrasing, was that he signed some things that he regretted to get some other stuff passed, which, I mean, if you were under any delusion as to how things work, that's basically it. And he apologized for it, which is more than most people in the presidency have pretty much ever done. Honestly, I give him like a shred of credit for admitting that he shouldn't have signed it. Like, fuck him for everything.
He can afford to now, though. He's not responsible for it.
But how many people do you see? Let's say since 1980, how many politicians have you seen actually apologize for their vote or signing or anything like that?
That's fair, I guess.
I'm not saying he's a saint. Like, fuck the Clintons, fuck Hillary. But admit when you're wrong, you know.
I'll give you that.
Like 1.5% credit.
I don't even know what the fuck you were talking about. I did want to mention, oh yeah, going back to the whole, Obama said that these kids nowadays is what it boiled down to. These kids nowadays with their wokeness and their social media, and what are you looking at?
Sorry, I didn't mute my mic, and
Ruining.
Natalie came home with food. I'm sorry.
Whoa, no, you gotta share it. I need smell vision. The whole point of that was he's tired of it. He's not tired. You're gonna ruin everything with the wokeness. You have to compromise. You can't be fucking pissed off at people. Blah 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 blah. So no surprise.
I mean,
Everybody.
honestly, if you're gonna discredit people, it's not that creative to, like, you didn't put a lot of work into woke as day.
No,
like, put some fucking effort into it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not any different than any of the other. And of course, now everybody's going to jump on the, well, Obama said it, so therefore, Silverman rocks. I guess that's going to be the whole argument.
Well, and I guess for me, the summation of the whole thing is, it's like, okay, you don't know exactly what's true or not on either side. I hate using that fucking phrase. Fuck that phrase. But you don't have, like, again, if Billy, in the circle of friends, the giant circle of friends, Billy is accused of being a thief, you don't let Billy in your house by yourself or in a room by himself, or you don't give him a key. And it doesn't mean you be shitty to him. It doesn't mean anything like that. It means you tread cautiously, which in the context of Silverman, you don't normalize him until the fucking dust settles. And
see that he waited how long? Over a year after he got fired from American Atheist, and he gathered himself. And but he was selling insurance. He's about to kill himself because he was selling insurance.
Honestly, fucking please do it so we can let all these people stop fucking martyring you. Like, that's what it boils down to. Like, no offense, like, inappropriate comment, honestly, but it's,
I get the gist, but
yeah, I mean, just
it's
because he
fine.
did,
Yeah, I get it.
just because he did something important in one way that is good does not excuse behavior in the other direction of bad. And it's cool to, if you're going to blame him for the good things, you have to blame him for the bad things. You're going to blame him for the bad things, you have to blame him for the fucking good things. Like, and until the dust settles, until the lawsuits are done, stop defending people that you don't. If you don't know someone is innocent, do not fucking defend them and pretend that they are. Because there are a lot of people that these safe spaces that you talk about and the underreported, under prosecuted, fucking thrown away rape kits that are done, it's just give the benefit of the doubt to the people that it actually fucking matters to. Just because you can doesn't mean you fucking shouldn't or should.
Or at least ask.
Like,
I mean, at least ask them if they don't want to come on, and they want to give a statement or I don't know something.
If you're gonna like, okay, O.J. Simpson's a great fucking example. Exonerated legally. He put out a book. If I Had Done It, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, your job as somebody who has him on anything at that point is to ask him, did you do it? You have to fucking grill him. It can't be an afterthought. It can't be anything else. Your fucking priority needs to be, did you do it? And with Silverman, your whole fucking priority in anything, if you are going to be the thirsty motherfucker that needs a bunch of views because somebody will be like, oh, Silverman, yank, yank, yank. Like, you have to fucking grill him. Oh, I don't want to question him about, oh, I don't know what to believe. No. Like, you know statistically that it is, that anybody who's sexually assaulted is drastically underreported. That's just how it is. So you ask him. It is fair to give him a chance to state his case and do his thing. But it is not fucking fair to pretend it didn't happen and give him the opportunity to dodge the situation. It doesn't matter if it's Silverman. It doesn't matter who the fuck it is. It doesn't matter if it's me or anyone else. You have an obligation to either address it with the objectivity, knowing the fucking statistics, that the person that is the victim is telling the truth. Statistically, they are. Not to say there aren't shitty fucking people out there, because there fucking are. On both sides of the gender. Or just don't fucking engage. Don't platform the fucking person. Don't pretend it's fucking normal. Don't do any of that. At the end of the day, just because you can does not mean you should. And just because you have a fucking stream or a voice or a microphone or anything else, it means, or fuck your criticism of safe spaces. Your safe space is the fact that you're free speech. Fuck your free speech. Consider somebody else. Have some fucking apathy. And if you don't have apathy, fuck you.
Empathy.
Whatever. Words are hard.
Apathy is like actually the exact opposite. But
yeah, but they should identify with that. I was trying to identify with the crowd because they know what apathy is. Fuck them.
Nihilism is your thing, so maybe it's just ingrained. I don't know.
We're all gonna die. Embrace it.
We're all gonna die. Yeah, exactly.
Wink.
And incidentally, they're not obligated to, but don't sit there and act like you're some kind of skeptic if you're not getting both sides.
Here's the other thing. I'm gonna soapbox. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. Okay. So, skepticism does not mean denying anything you do not have proof of. Sometimes you have to use your human ability if you are not a fucking sociopath. And be like, okay, I can't identify with this because I'm not a victim and have never been a victim. So maybe because it means something to somebody else that I'm going to put myself last and the other person first and shut my fucking mouth. And that's what you should do. Free speech is your fucking safe space. It is what you rely on. It is your fucking pillars that hold the roof over your head. It is the thing that you use as an excuse to be a fucking douchebag and discount other people's real life experiences because you don't have them. Just because you don't have them, and there are plenty that you don't have. You've never been a fucking samurai. You've never been anything. Yeah, you've been a fucking samurai. But there are a lot of people that have not been a lot of things. Some of you have not been a man or a woman or a fucking samurai or a sniper. There are plenty of fucking things in life that you have not and will never be. And the point is that as a human that would consider other people considering your feelings important when you are hurting and it is painful, something of value, to fucking extend it in the other direction before you worry about my free speech. Fuck your free speech. If that hurts your feelings, I hope it fucking does. I sincerely hope it fucking does. And if it doesn't, I hope you go the way of the dodo, honestly. Because you're evolutionarily speaking on your fucking way down to the swirling drain. Because the rest of us that need our safe spaces, our SJWs, are just being fucking considerate. Examine yourself.
And on that note, I did, and this gonna be this running theme. And I'm gonna go ahead and reiterate this only because we've dedicated so much time and space to it, not because I'm trying to impress our one viewer, okay, or like 10 downloads I'm gonna get for this show, but people like Free Thought Profits and people of that ilk, or really anybody, big or small, platforms, guys like David Silverman, you're contributing to a culture that says white men, especially powerful white men, are more important than those that are taken advantage of. Now, skepticism would dictate for you or for anybody else that you're going to have to at least get two sides. Now, of course, it's naive to think there's always two sides. Sometimes one side is right and the other side's bullshit, as we've seen too often in the last couple of years. However, in this case, I don't know why you don't reach out. I mean, how easy is it? I don't know. There are a couple of people maybe you could reach out to. I mean, there are differing points of view. But if you're platforming one guy and you're not platforming anyone else, and it just happens to be that he's a famous white guy, and it just happens to coincide with the fact that you're getting a bunch of views by having him on, it makes you look a little suspicious. It makes it look maybe like you don't give so much of a fuck about anybody else but you and your white male sensitivities. I mean, I'm just putting it out there.
I'm probably going to regret this at some point. But considering we have 1.5, maybe 2 viewers now, I'm not too terribly worried about it. I would legitimately, at the risk of not being a professional debater, not being a lot of things with these clowns, I would actually have a conversation with them. Because the one thing I can't decide is if they are conditioned by the toxic whatever the fuck this is, or they're just legitimately defensive douchebags that don't give a fuck about anybody but their views. And I might recant that, and I'm gonna think about that.
You're the guy. Yeah, I've seen your page, and you argue with fuckers I wouldn't even bother to fuck with. So there's different people, different things. It gets through the different, whatever.
One of the things I regret is when the podcast they're talking about where they talk to Felicia, um, I didn't when I was invited, I didn't know Felicia was on there. I didn't know. Um, I thought it was just going to be me talking to a couple douchebags, which is 75% true. Um, if I had known there was somebody else, I would have considered it more. If I knew it was a female, like the woke as day me would have been like, you know what, I'm not going to leave this person to be douchebaggeried into oblivion because I don't know what their backstory is. Like maybe sexual assault's a real thing for them, but I didn't feel like the invite because it was literally less than 30 hours before the show was genuine. And they told me that 2 other people had turned them down. And so I don't know. Like I guess watch Jurassic Park. If you are a fucking person, if right now you're like, I'm not a fucking person, like, cool, do your thing, but disengage. If you are a person, male, female, non binary, all the spectrum, and you're thinking, yeah, this is a good idea, consider just because you can is not the most important question, libertarians. You should ask yourself if you fucking should. And it's not because you are legally allowed or constitutionally this or that. Consider your fellow fucking human first. It's not that hard. It fucking isn't. Think of the most painful thing you've ever been through as a person, and then imagine somebody else trying to rub fucking salt in it. You just need to fucking humanize the problem. And just because you can't see beyond, like, whatever arm's length you have from your person, and that's your bubble, does not devalue anybody else. And honestly, like, get some fucking therapy, like, online. Like, there's so many fucking great YouTube videos. Watch something, enlighten yourself. Stop being woke or skeptical. Like, honestly, I'm going to offend a lot of people right now. Do not belong to atheism or skepticism. Be a fucking empathetic person. I got the word right. Like, just consider the person, like, pretend you're on a flight and you have a person next to you. Like, do you want to do something or eat something or open something that's going to offend the person next to you? If no, don't fucking do it. Don't be a fucking asshole. That's all I got. Like, fuck these clowns. Like, honestly, like, you stole 57 minutes of my life on my fucking ride home in the fucking rain.
All right.
No.
You can. That's what you get for my old Rasputin taking my beer. That's the price.
No, fuck these people.
So.
But you know what? At Lyman_Smith.
That's right. I need to start. We need to figure that out.
Or you could share the podunk with me. We could co-manage it. You can make your own.
Well,
I know.
Well, you still
We're
have
gonna
to do the thing.
I gotta like
Yeah.
in the background. Yeah. I'm a terrible.
Head.
I'm not a good co-host.
Okay, so Lyman's just going off the rails because he's hungry apparently. So anyway, I did want to before we get off, I wanted to encourage everybody to go watch Zach's show, Zach Religion Cast. He's on Facebook. His guest Facebook page. He has a show on YouTube, Zach Religion Cast, just the usual places. He's a great guy. He has great guests on. He doesn't get nearly the support or love he should get, considering the kind of people he has on, including myself. And
He's better than us.
Yeah,
as people.
I'm not saying that just because we'll be there next Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, and it'll no longer be daylight time. It'll be back to standard time, which I hate that. But anyway,
Hey, are you gonna buy me a corsage for this date?
we're going to talk about that off air. So
Okay.
we'll talk about
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Shh. Okay. So anyway, go watch his show. Go bombard. Don't give them any more views. After they're 35.
Who?
Don't give Free Thought Profits any more views.
Honestly, don't give them any fucking views. Just go flame them on the appropriate social.
You know what? Just
No,
literally do anything else. Go fucking wash your hair.
I'm going to agree with you. You could send one message on Facebook, Free Thought Profit, or whatever the fuck their irrelevant names are on Twitter because they don't have anything to get. Well, the Free Thought Profit is one, but they're separate but equal. Their words, not mine.
Yeah, so I don't care. You go Free Thought Profits, and then the Seamus is the other guy. He has his own separate thing.
Seamus, some dude.
Don't fucking care. Anyway, so go watch Zach's show. We'll be on, barring anything happening. I will be on there next Tuesday, and we're gonna try this once again and see if I can get it right. Until next time, y'all